Hi, and welcome to the first of a series of videos on how to use Rating Central. My name is Cameron Chan, and I am one of the Rating Central coordinators in Australia. My contact details are in the description box below, and you are welcome to email me with any comments or suggestions for a future video. I will do my best to accommodate you over time. So, in today's video, we will talk about the following. What is Cantor? How to set up Cantor for the first time, and I provided you the link there. And things to remember each time you use Cantor, such as the Table Tennis Australia Rating Central guidelines, importing lists, and making sure you are not creating a duplicate each time. We will talk more about these alongside submission, resubmissions, importing files, and the like in future videos. But today it is about getting the foundations right. Okay, but before I go on, you will need to set up a director ID with Rating Central, and this is available on this link here. So if I click on that link, and it will take me to this page, right? So from here, you can scroll down to the bottom, and then it will give you this link here to register as an event director. Okay, so click on that, and then fill in your things and then submit. But remember that because the operations of Rating Central are in the US, you probably will not receive an email from Rating Central for at least within 24 hours. And we'll have your login details and you'll be ready to go from that. But while that is happening, on this link I provided you, you can download Cantor or Zomello, and it'll install it into your computer, and it's all ready to go while you are waiting. So just remembering that Cantor is for any sort of results, Zomello is for tournaments, or you could even use my colleague Jared's Rating Central pennant submitter for all your fixtures and pennants. Okay. When you get your email from Rating Central with your login, you will probably receive an email from myself or Jared with a link to the Table Tennis Australia Rating Central guidelines. And we will refer to these guidelines as the overarching methodology towards Rating Central usage in Australia. Simply follow these and you'll never go wrong in the eyes of Rating Central. I'll explain what they are more in the next video, alongside things to be mindful of and consider. So we have just, we've got all our logins, we've got all of it. So let's get stuck into it. So I've downloaded Cantor on my computer. So it's right here. It comes with the user's manual, which if you enjoy a little bit of bedtime reading, it's something that you should probably have a read of at some stage. But for now, I'm simply going to give you the important points to consider. All right, so here we've got Cantor. Open it up. It comes up with this quick start menu. And we haven't even done any of this, but this is just what each of the functions will detail. So let's get cracking. All right, so this is a completely fresh new Cantor. So we need to set it up. All right, so we need to go set up. Here, you enter the ID that has been given to you. So this particular one, and you enter in your password for it. Now, I believe we are only dealing with table tennis, so let's stick with table tennis. And we have listing the database folder, which is where Cantor will store all the files it creates. So the best one to use is just simply the default, which is Cantor, and save. Next thing that we need to do is set up the internet. So you need to put in your email address. So for me, it's kcttprojects@gmail.com, and click save. Oh, obviously it is wrong. So there we go. So we need to click save, right? Now we don't need a printer for this unless you should be printing a whole bunch of results, but those are two main things to consider. So just these two items. Now, Once that is done, you know it will be right, because if you go to lists and you click on import, source from the web, this is where it will download information from Rating Central so that you can ensure that you're using the right players, you're using the most accurate ratings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure that every time you use Cantor or Zemelo or any sort of Rating Central software, that the first thing you do is import a list, okay? Get that in, even if it's just a sticky note on your computer that says import, 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 do this and you'll never go wrong. So we're importing, so we are simply waiting, and if it imports successfully, then you know that you've used the right details. And so far, so good. Usually takes no more than a minute, depending on how fast your internet is, or if it's simply an update or a complete overhaul, or in this case, it's a complete overhaul. Right. So that's all done. And I know that the list, that it would be done because I can therefore click on browse ratings and I can see everyone's ratings as of today. All right, so let's try that again. So let's say I've just gone out of Cantor, finished with it. Okay, I'm going to start a new event. So I'm going to go into Cantor and receive all of this. And the first thing I'm going to do is import my list. And as you can see here, you want to source from the web. Just tell it to discard any existing records. You don't want to keep it. We just want to have completely fresh new lists for our purposes. Just waiting for it to import. As we notice, it's a bit quicker this time. It's all good to go. Now, so that means you've imported your list, you're ready to create an event. So now we would go to event, select current. Now this is where all your events will be listed, right? So we want to add an event. We'll call it demonstration 1. Set it for the date of when it was held. So we'll say the 30th of December. You'll have a match format. So if everyone plays best of 3, 5, 7, or 9, you just click on that. But if you want to click on games, games means that you can have any best of games. If you got some running on best of 7, best of 5, best of 3, etc. So we're just going to do best of 5 for simplicity. Don't use state because we are not in the United States. So we have to use Australia, and then province is the one we would use, and just use the 3-letter code. Club, well, I'm going to base it on name, and I'm going to use table tennis Australia. Double click on that, and unrated prior and standard deviation. Now this is where it becomes integral. Okay, so depending on the event that you're submitting, right, an unrated prior is the blanket new initial mean and standard deviation that you will give to new players. So this is where the TDA Rating Central guidelines will come in, which I'll explain in a future video. But my suggestion would be is to give the average. So for example, if you're submitting Division 3, put the average of Division 3, same for Division 4, 5, 6, 1, or 2, in line with the Rating Central guidelines. So I have a copy of that here, which I will bring here. So you will see that there's a whole bunch of these bands. Refer to these bands and put that as your unrated prior. Okay, so if it's the lowest division, it'll be 800 plus minus 150, or the what or the whatnot. But try and link up your division or with these bands. However, if you're submitting a whole range of divisions, then you might want to pick one of these bands as the middle point. Okay, so that's what we mean by unrated prior. So for this one, I'm going to put 200, 200, which is probably what I would call the absolute middle. Save that. All right, so this is my event. Okay, if I want to change some details, I can edit again, but there it is. Okay, and we can see here it turns to demonstration. Right, and then you need to add some players to your event, and so we're going to click modify. I'm going to add a player. So this is for completely new players, but if we want to add in a player that is existing in Rating Central, you click on this little hand, right? Make sure you got the name check, and then go from last name, comma, first name. So I'll just use myself. So, okay, Cameron Chan is right here. I'll click on it. I will click add player, and all my details will come in. Save. Now, I'm going to add a new player, but I'm going to add a completely new player. So I'm going to have player Newt, right? Don't need to put in all these extra details. Yeah, I think they are male. Birth, no, that's not necessary. Okay, so now you see here you've got unrated prior, right? If you leave this blank, right, you're going to use that 200, that 1200, 200 value that I showed prior. Otherwise, if this person, say Newt, is a lot better than 1200, say that they are 1800, then you might want to write, okay, they are 1800, 200, and this will override the unrated prior that you wrote initially in the program. Okay, so let's just save that. So, okay, that's nothing, and you will have an unrated prior of 1800, 200. Okay, so, and once again, I'll create a new player. I'll say payo ev, right? And this time I'm not going to write an unrated prior. Just going to save that. All right. So I've got my 3 here. Okay. And then when we do a submission video, you will see how these settings will affect the submission. Okay. So this is all you need to know for now. What we've done is a setup. We've set up your internet. We know how to import the list, and we've done a reminder that you need to import every time. We've created an event. We talked about the difference between an unrated prior for the event and unrated prior for the player. And then in the next video, we'll talk more about submission, resubmissions, Table Tennis Australia Rating Central guidelines, and how it all comes together.